God damn, I need IPA.
This is Beering Ain't Easy, your podcast for beer humor, dad humor, and beer tastings from Texas and beyond. So crack one if you got one and turn it up.
Welcome to Beering Ain't Easy, Season 3, Episode 5, with Ryan and Drew.
So for our Houston listeners, this is going to be a special treat because we did a Best Pilsners of Houston episode a while back, and we declared that Lil Snack from 11 Below was the best all-time Pilsner in the Houston area. But we're going to put that to the test, Ryan, because there's been some new players that have come on the market. And so we need to talk about this and see, did we really pick the right one, or is the new better than the old?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the beer scene's constantly evolving, so we gotta check ourselves every now and then, make sure that we're still giving the best news to the listeners, the most accurate experiments. Hell yeah! Dare I say, in all of Texas?
In all of Texas, that's an accurate statement, Ryan. And honestly, like, there was an asterisk after that last showdown because I posted that one all over social media and said that Lil Snack won. And there was one listener, at least one, that said was hating on us because we left out one of these beers the first time. So we made sure we included that for that one hater, and then we added some new ones. So I hope you're happy.
This one's for you and you alone. So just to recap, so yes, obviously Lil Snack won, but equal parts lager beer was the runner-up in that one. And yeah, still an amazing beer. Love that beer too. So I'm really curious to see how we do this time.
Honestly, I'm going to make a bold statement to start this podcast out. I think Houston has some of the best German Pilsners in all of the world, not just the U.S., in all of the world. I mean, fuck Germany. This is H-Town German Pilsner. So last Pilsner episode, we allowed some different style Pilsners in. This one is all German Pilsners, which happens to be one of my favorite beer types of all time. And Houston is one of the best. So how are you feeling about that bold statement, Ryan?
I'm thinking about just changing the topic and not dwelling on that comment too much.
You don't want to. You're not going to make a bold statement like that until you actually had the beers.
Yeah. All stats entered the chat.
Okay. The entire country of Germany.
The entire country of Germany. Yeah, that should have been the first one.
All right, so maybe we should just say what beers we're drinking tonight.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, obviously, we've talked about the defending champ, 11 Below, Lil Snack.
Oh, it's going to be a tough one to beat. It's an all-time favorite. And so we'll go next. Holler Brewing, Dollar Pils, y'all. A classic. Rare stroke of miracle here. I went by and found it in cans.
Then we have friend of the pod, Bad Astronaut, bringing their Cloud Punch to the table.
Ooh, I love that one too. This is going to be hard for me. I don't think there's going to be any losers on the table. And rounding us out, Paradigm Brewing, and this is Professor Pils. So as you know, the only way to do this tasting is blind. So this is a blind German Pilsner tasting. And we may actually pull up some German Pilsner notes to see like how we're supposed to grade these things. So how do you want to start this thing out, Ryan?
Well, first I want to ask you if you have any predictions, how you think this is going to play out.
Man, I feel like Lil Snack, every time I crack open a Lil Snack, there's like my heart just goes happy. And so I drink a lot of Cloud Punch too because I love the Bad Astronaut guys. So those two I feel like are coming in pretty strong. I've had some Professor Pils and some Holler, but I just think it's going to be hard to dethrone Lil Snack. That's my initial prediction.
Unfortunately, I completely agree. I think Lil Snack's going to edge it out, but I'm thinking Cloud Punch is going to be my second favorite. So
yeah, they're both, like I said, all of these beers are great. I like them all, but again, I'm a little biased because of the style.
You came in with a bold prediction earlier, and I'm not going to go that bold, but I think this might be our best lineup for a blind tasting that we've done on the podcast before.
Ooh, even, I guess blind, yeah. Blind makes sense.
Blind.
Yeah, it's definitely probably my favorite lineup of Houston beers right here. Like to find that many breweries that can bring that kind of heat on a certain style. So,
yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, I guess just get into it and start
drinking.
Start drinking, then we'll rank them. I mean, is there anything off the bat that you know that we're drinking them out of clear glasses? So I guess as far as just visually, appearance wise, if there's anything that you notice.
I think 3 out of the 4 have almost the exact same color, and then one of them is a little lighter, a little clearer. Are you getting that too?
That is, yeah, exactly what I was thinking too. If you would have told me 3 of them were from the same can, I would have believed you. And then there's just one that's just a little bit lighter, not quite as clear, just a tiny bit cloudy.
And I mentioned I'd pulled up, like, what are we expected to get from a German Pilsner? And so we're supposed to get straw to light gold, brilliant to very clear, with a creamy, long-lasting white head. So they all still seem to have a little bit of a head on it, even though it's in a plastic cup. And, I mean, it says it can go brilliant to very clear, so I think they're all within the range of appearance that's acceptable.
Yeah, so far
they're not disqualified. There we go.
You said the long-lasting head, and yeah, they all have a little bit of head. I think number 1 is probably the weakest head on mine.
So Ryan, in my meticulous research today, I did look up a little bit of the history of the German Pilsner. Ooh. So there's a little bit of controversy here. So the original Pilsner was from the town of Pilsen in Czech Bohemia. But most Germans will claim that Germany created the Pilsner because the first brewer was of Bavarian born, Josef Groll. So basically they claimed it. So we have a dual claim between Czech Republic and Germany on who came up with the Pilsner.
Interesting.
That wasn't that interesting.
I honestly couldn't really follow it.
But regardless of who came up with it first, it's a light-bodied, highly attenuated lager beer brewed from 100% barley malt and generally defined as a golden-colored bottom-fermented bitter beer.
We've talked a little bit about the appearance, and you've had some comments about it, but according to the beer guidelines, the flavor is initial malt flavor quickly overcome with hop flavor and bitterness, leading into a crisp, dry finish. Medium to high bitterness lingering into the aftertaste along with a touch of malt and hops. Minerally water can accentuate and lengthen the dry finish, but it should always have a bitter balance. So I breezed through some of that, but that's the gist. If that helps you at all in your judging.
Well, you know me, I'm going to judge based on my taste buds. Not necessarily if it's true to style.
I mean, all of these, I think, are true to style. We're not like cheating here.
What about aroma? What are we supposed to get on aroma?
So, yeah, aroma, it says moderate to moderately high, flowery, spicy, or herbal hops. Low to medium, grainy, sweet, or doughy malt character, often with light honey and toasted cracker quality. Hops should be forward, but not totally dominate the malt in balance. So, I'm not getting much of an aroma off any of these, personally. I'm not sure about you.
Maybe it's the glassware. I think I get the most aroma from number 2.
Actually, I get a little bit of like the honey, kind of the cracker quality, actually, now that I'm like concentrating on that.
Dude, these are all so good.
Yeah. I know we say it every single time we do a blind tasting, but this is so much fun, and this just makes me happy. It's a shame we're going to have to call one of these fourth place.
There's 2 of them that like I can't differentiate between them. Since we're going through the descriptors of a German Pilsner, I feel like one of these is a little lighter. So I was kind of curious, like, what kind of body we're supposed to be getting from these.
So I'm glad you asked, Drew. I get to say my favorite beer descriptor.
We just had if you hear kids in the background, we're at a house that we've got a total of 7 kids running around. So we just had a mini excursion where they rammed into the wall. Pardon the interruption.
Glad you asked, Drew. I get to say my favorite beer descriptor word, mouthfeel. So, mouthfeel. Medium light body, medium to high carbonation. Should not feel heavy. Not harsh, but may have a flinty, minerally sharpness in some examples.
Ooh. I like the mineral example because there's one of them in particular that I get that a little minerally aftertaste, and I kind of dig that.
I'm splitting hairs, tasting between a couple of them, and Yeah, and in one, I'm giving the edge to one because it follows the style more closely, but another one that's probably truer to style I don't like as much as the others. So I'm kind of being a hypocrite here, but the taste buds have the final say.
I feel like one of the ones I picked high, it's because I think it tastes fantastic, but I don't know, listening to your descriptors, that it's the one that actually matches. It's more of a light lager versus a German Pilsner.
I'll be really interested to see where we land here.
It does make you think, though. It's like, okay, if I was a real beer taster, then this would be an immediate DQ.
I don't think so. I think I know which one you might be talking about.
You like what you like.
Yeah. And no, it's So the one I'm talking about is, it's a little bit less minerally, a little bit less malty, so it just comes off a little bit cleaner and kind of sweeter, which I say it's not as malty but sweeter, which doesn't make sense. But anyway, it just tastes crisper. We're crispy boys. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
This is well documented.
So why do you think Houston has such a strong German Pilsner presence? Is it German immigrants in Texas? I mean, what is the history of the German Pilsner in Texas?
That is a good question. There is a huge, obviously our wives are Czech descendants.
Oh, yeah.
And there's that huge Czech
There's a Czech population, but there's also a big German population. You think like Fredericksburg, Hill Country area.
That's true. That's a good point. And Karbach was based around German beer at the beginning too. So yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I'd have to look into like where German immigrants moved the most when they started coming over here and see kind of if that correlates to the beer styles. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, is the American German Pilsner... I mean, obviously it's better because it's American.
Happy 4th of July.
We've lost all of our German listeners, but we are recording this on the 4th of July, so patriotism is an all-time high.
We're going to lose our...
international listeners.
Yeah, our German listeners.
I think we lost them all after, like, the 6-month hiatus. Oh, man. I mean, we screwed around enough. Do we need to put our assumptions on the table here?
I think so. I got a spreadsheet ready.
Oh yeah, we got to get I want a full detailed. Can you put this on a? Now that I'm here in person, I get to see Ryan's not kidding when he says he has a spreadsheet up. Can we get this in a pivot table?
I got that VLOOKUP on lock.
Oh yeah. Woo. All right, so how do we want to do this? We want to start with our fourth pick and go.
Well, I want to hear your ranking. Then I'll give my ranking, and then we'll start revealing.
Oh, just by number?
Yeah. Once we know what our last place finisher was, we'll just go from what our least favorite to most favorite after we combine our tabulated rankings.
Okay. So you want me to put my last place?
Yeah. What was your last place?
Last place was number 4.
True.
Was that your favorite?
That was my number 1.
What? Okay. Wow. This is great because I feel like every time we do a blind tasting, we always pick the same beers. So this is going to be a great experiment.
Yeah. Why was this your number 4?
I felt like, I know that they said that it could, light in body was okay, but I felt like it was the lightest body, and I just felt like it just didn't have as much, it didn't pack as much flavor to me.
I see what you're saying. This was my favorite because, you got a little bit of the mineraliness, but it was so just clean to me.
Okay.
And it had like a little bit of like a sweet finish. It was just, like I said before, it is crisp. It's very crisp, very, very clean, and I'm just into that right now.
Oh, wait. So you said this was your top beer?
This was my favorite beer. Yeah.
Do we need to just reveal it? I feel like we just need to reveal it since we just talked about it.
No. Come on, dude. We got to build the suspense. Let's go.
Okay.
We've been out the game too long, man.
Okay. I'm so excited.
Okay, what was your third favorite?
My third favorite was number 1.
So this was my number 4. If we were like being beer judges, this maybe was most true to style because it had the initial malt flavor more than the other ones.
Oh, I could get that, yeah.
and that's kind of what knocked it down to last for me, was just it wasn't as refreshing as these other ones.
No, it definitely wasn't as clean and crisp.
Okay. things are back a little bit more on track.
This is great. I love it.
Okay. All right. You're number 2.
Well, number 2 was number 3.
Okay. That was my number 3.
Okay. I thought number 3 was very clean. I thought it had the most mineral aftertaste, but I was digging it. But now that you mention it, number 4 was pretty clean as well. It just didn't have as much flavor.
Yeah. So beer number 3 was your second, and it was my third.
Okay.
And I put it right behind number 2, which was your favorite, and was my number 2.
Okay. Whew, man. So, if the listeners are twisted around, you're not the only ones because I just got twisted.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
So why don't you do the composite rankings and then we'll unveil based on composite rankings because the listeners are like, what the fuck are these guys talking about?
So I agree with you on number 3 what you were saying about minerally. Number 2 and number 3 to me tasted so similar. I went with number 2 over number 3 just because it was a little bit more of like a crisp, like sharp finish, and I just preferred that.
Yeah.
But it was like really splitting hairs at that point.
I thought it was the sweetest too. Like I thought there was a little more sweetness to number 2, but I loved it. Was there any of these beers that you did not enjoy? Because I enjoyed them all.
I
feel like
really
we're splitting hairs when I like pick on number 4, but let's be honest, these are all worthy of being in your fridge.
Yeah. So our order was the same except for the big discrepancy of beer number 4 being your least favorite and my favorite. Everything else was ranked.
There's a lot on the line right here.
There is a lot on the line.
Because if we had both picked the same beer, then that could have been a little snack. But like this, like who do we have a new champion coming?
I'm starting to think maybe that's the case.
Oh my god!
All right, so our combined least favorite was beer number 1. It was my 4th place, your 3rd place.
Okay.
So big reveal.
Yeah.
Professor Pils.
Okay.
Is that what you thought it was going to be?
Yes.
Same.
Okay.
For the listeners, me being in Cyprus and Paradigm's in Tomball, there's a lot of Paradigm up by us, and we've been there several times. So I picked this one out because all of his beers tend to be maltier than generally beers in Houston are. Mm-hmm. So I kind of picked this one out. Without even trying the other ones, the first time I tasted it, I was like, this one's Professor Pils.
Okay. But from all the ones on this table, like, Holler has a great reputation. I love the Bad Astronaut new one, and then Little Snacks are a reigning champion. So like Professor Pils was kind of like the dark horse candidate.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. So number 2 was our composite favorite. So I think we saved that one.
Yep.
Then we had a tie between number 3 and number 4. So number 4 was this weird one. So I say we reveal number 3.
Yeah, next. Yeah. Because you had number 4 as a favorite, so I think that's only fair.
Okay. Number 3, Cloud Punch.
Okay.
So that was my 3rd, your 2nd.
My 2nd. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. So Lil Snack's still in play.
And I've always felt that Cloud Punch has that kind of minerally taste to it, which I've always digged. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to reveal our composite favorite, or do you want to reveal the huge discrepancy one next?
Oh, man. I feel like the other one's obviously going to identify itself, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, then let's just pull the Band-Aid off. Your least favorite, my favorite.
Okay.
Little Snack.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, 11 Below. I need a retaste. I need a recount. I feel like I need to say like 6 Hail Marys and then Father after that. I'm sorry, Father for our sin. Okay.
Well, the composite favorite, number 2, Dollar Pills, Holler Brewing.
Holy shit.
Your favorite, my second favorite. Drew, you made Holler the new classic German Pils of Houston.
Holy shit. So where did Little Snack end up on the composite rankings after I screwed it over?
So it's tied for second. So
okay.
Yeah, number 2 was it was the favorite. Number 3 and 4 were tied, and then number 1 was last. So
okay. Wow. So that one listener that was barking at me about
victory lap, sir.
Dance on our grave. Oh man. Well, that's the thing though. Like I mean, I think that just says that you can't lose with the Houston German Pils.
I mean, I can't argue with that. But I also can't lie to you, Drew, and act like I'm not going to treat you a little differently for a while. I don't know. I'm conflicted right now.
Maybe it's just that Little Snack tastes better in a can, and you don't need to drink it out of a plastic cup. Maybe that's it. With a koozie in a can, you need that extra metallic flavor.
Do we need to do another warm beer taste and see if it's the best pool beer?
Which is the best warm German Pilsner?
See, you brought up an interesting... You talked about how you found dollar pills in a can, where you had told me you were going to get a crowler of it.
Yes.
And you had kind of questioned, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think that would have skewed the results? Do you think it was similar enough where it would have been no noticeable difference?
For some reason, I've always associated that kind of metallic finish to German Pilsners, and I thought it was from the can. But from you describing the style, I think it's just the style of the beer. So I don't know that it would have made as big of an impact as I originally thought. Because I thought it would have blown it apart. It would have depended. If it was a fresh crowler, it would have won because it was fresh, and then if it was old, it would have lost because it was flat. But in reality, if it was a pretty fresh one, I don't know that it would have made a big difference. What do you think?
Yeah, the fact that you got it yesterday, I think it would have been fine. I need to ask my brother, if you, because obviously you go, if you were to, you fill a crowler, it's you transfer it from the tank to a keg, and then you go from the keg to the crowler. So it's got an extra transfer involved. Whereas, cans, you're just going straight to the cans and sealing them up. And then it obviously sits there. So my initial reaction is it probably affects it quicker than in a can. But yeah, I think a day ahead of time, I don't think I'd be able to actually tell a difference.
I feel like every time I get a crowler, it's like I'm already at a brewery for a long period of time. It's not like I show up there to go to get a crowler. And so I never want to drink it that day. It's always the week later, and then you drink it and then it's flat and you're like, this wasn't worth it. And so it's I'm rarely this was a rare experience where I popped into Bad Astronaut and I popped into Holler and I just got to go beers and left. I was like, I feel like that's the only time I've ever done that just for the pod. That's my dedication, Ryan.
I appreciate you, Drew. Good looking out.
So, I mean, with Holler, taking in the hardware today, I feel like I got to give a shout out to Huggy Brewer, who has moved out of the Houston area, but definitely has made his mark in the Houston area. And although this beer preceded him in Holler, he probably brewed this batch or oversaw the brewing of this batch. Yeah,
carrying the torch. Yeah, leaving your mark on the city. Thank you, Huggy. Drew, I have one thing I want to clear the air with you on here as we wrap up the episode. We met up at breweries for Father's Day, and I think this question needs to be asked. Do you think it's tacky or weird to wear brewery merch to that brewery, or do you think it's totally normal and fun?
So to wear the merch of the brewery you're going to?
To that brewery, yeah.
Every time I've thought about it, I've always said no. Something in my conscience and my gut tells me that that's a bad idea. But I don't know why. Why is that? What's the psychology?
I don't know. I feel the same way too. It feels like try hard, and it makes you look like too much of a fan.
Yeah,
it feels weird.
Yeah, but I mean, there's fans of music artists and stuff that will show up in all their gear and they'll get it signed, and they're ultra fans, and that's okay. So why can't you be an ultra fan of a brewery?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I feel the same way. I'm no, I'm not gonna. I even will keep myself from wearing another brewery shirt at a brewery because I'm just I just avoid brewery shirts altogether. Yeah. Which is tough because I have a lot of brewery shirts.
You don't want to broadcast yourself as over-eager craft beer guy?
Yeah. They see me at the bar, they're like, oh shit, you got to serve this guy. He probably uses Untappd.
So yeah, I can't go that far with you because I do wear
You wear your Nook Brewing
I wear Nook stuff everywhere. So
you're like a walking sales guy.
I try to be a billboard. I'm gonna start making my mark in the Houston craft beer scene. Everyone's like, "Why have I heard of the Nook before?" It's like, yeah, because you've seen me around, and I'm always wearing the gear.
When they start distributing in Houston, we know who number one, marketing and sales guy is going to be.
For basically everybody probably listening doesn't really know what the Nook logo looks like. It's the shape of Oklahoma. So when he starts distributing, he's going to have to make a new logo for every state where the Nook is in the shape of the state that he's distributing to, I think. That's my opinion.
Nice. A Texas Nook.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I was looking at our small topic episode list, and it did just remind me of a hilarious moment. And so we also, in the span of not recording podcasts, we went to a concert together, and we saw Blackberry Smoke at the 713 Music Hall in Houston. And beforehand, we went into the food court, got some food, and we both had beers in hand, and we had to, hit the restroom before we went to the concert. And I noticed that Ryan, when he went to the restroom, he left his beer on the table, and I carried mine in. So I want to know, Ryan, it just got me thinking, do you have a thing against bringing your beer into restrooms?
Yes. If I can help it, I will not do that.
For the listeners that haven't listened in a while, we haven't talked about Ryan's bathroom fetish in a while, but, so no beers in the bathroom.
I mean, all these flushing toilets, there's a lot of particles flying through the air.
Okay. Fecal matter?
Or otherwise, whatever's floating around. Yeah. If I can help it.
Even if they have the nice ledge that they set.
That is nice. That's nice and elevated. But then you go to wash your hands, and you set your beer on the counter, the soaking wet counter, and then you have to pick it up, and then you're carrying that. I don't know. I don't like it. If I can leave it outside, I'm leaving it outside.
I can respect that, but
yes,
I bring it with me. I don't know. There's something about drinking and peeing at the same time that's just
you're getting me worked up, Drew.
I can see the stress in Ryan's face.
My shoulders feel tight.
Oh, man. Oh, speaking of episode filler. All right, Ryan. I know this is a short and sweet episode, but I think we're going to close it out. First and foremost, a huge congratulations to Holler Brewing for Dollar Pils Y'all being the reigning champion Houston German Pilsner. We got to head out to the pool. It's 4th of July weekend. We got to show our patriotism by talking about how much our German beers are better than Germany, which you've tried to distance yourself from this entire episode, but I keep bringing it back. So that's why I wanted to bring it to the close. But all in all, still one of my favorite styles. This time of year, 100 degrees temperature, perfect beer for the pool. What do you got to say for yourself to close us out?
100%. I have two things to say. I'm just gonna dive in head first with you. I'm gonna say I'm feeling patriotic, and I will say that is the U.S.'s favorite thing to do is take somebody that something else is doing and make it better, and that's exactly what they do with German Pils. So I'll go down on this ship with you, Drew.
Yes.
The other thing I gotta say is I'm also a little bit ashamed that you knocked Little Snack off its throne.
I'm sorry, 11 Below. You've won every blind taste. This is the first blind tasting that 11 Below has not won in the Houston area. But maybe we need a recount. There's going to have to be a third episode. I think that's the only solution.
I guess so. I mean, Drew dunked on himself better than I could. He caused them to lose their first ever blind tasting. So
this was the champion circle, so they're still in the circle of trust.
They have a good track record. So, but I don't hate Holler winning. It's obviously a great beer too. So let's not take anything away from Holler. Nice win. That's all I got to say. I'm out.
See y'all next time. This has been a Beering Ain't Easy production out of Houston, Texas. Follow us on Instagram or Facebook or at our website at crossthestreamsmedia.com, where you can find our podcast and all the other great sister podcasts on our network.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.